Hello readers, I'm Amy and I'm your nonfiction feminist, and Dimitri has joined me once again because he is just hopping circles around me. I don't know what's up with him. So today I am once again doing the reread, rewrite, or burn tag. Last time I did this is still to this day the most fun that I have ever had filming a video. Please don't rub on my stand. Don't do that. You'll shake the camera. So, if you are not familiar with this, focus. Okay. I'm not totally sure who came up with this tag originally, in my last video. If you don't know how this works, I have picked 15 books. That's enough for 5 rounds. I will be picking 3 books at random out of my little Wrigley's container here and discussing which book of the 3 I will reread, or would reread, which I would rewrite, and which I would burn. So, let's get this started. It's 1, 2, 3. I have 5 books that I loved, that I wrote down. 5 books that I hated, and 5 books that I enjoyed, would change some stuff about. So we'll see how this turns out. First up, we have Women Talking, The Tenant of Wildfell Hall, and Heart's Invisible Furies. Gosh darn it. I would reread, or I would rewrite Tenant of Wildfell Hall. Like, just initially that's my first reaction. But I loved Women Talking, and I loved Heart's Invisible Furies, and I would not want to burn either of those. So I'm gonna have to go with burning Tenant of Wildfell Hall. Gosh, I loved both of these. Reread. Kitty, what do I do? I need cat love to make this decision. Women Talking or Heart's Invisible Furies? What do you think? I love both. One of them's very long, one of them's very short. They both have awesome conversations. Yes? Yes. Okay. Amadeus has decided for me. Reread Women Talking and rewrite Heart's Invisible Furies. In rewriting Heart's Invisible Furies, I don't know what I would do. Maybe I would make it a little shorter, but what would I cut? Maybe I would make the adoptive parents nicer, but that takes out some of the comedy. I don't know, but I would have to rewrite Heart's Invisible Furies somehow. Okay, next 3. But I don't have any. Okay. I thought one was caught in the seam of the box. 1, 2, 3. We have Station 11, Sharp Objects, and Rose Matter. Ah! Okay. Actually, I think I got this. Burn. No. Reread Sharp Objects. It's definitely not my favorite Gillian Flynn, but I can get through it. So reread that. I feel like I should burn Rose Matter because it's like the worst Stephen King I've ever read. But I also think it's very salvageable. And I don't know. I could rewrite Station 11, but there's also just not anything I really liked about it, but then there was a lot that I didn't like about Rose Matter. Burn Rose Matter. Rewrite Station 11. And I'm going to say this because I think Station 11 would be the easiest of the 2 to rewrite. Sharp Objects, the pacing was just off for me. Rose Matter is like 2 different stories put into one book, and they just don't go together, like, at all. And, Station 11, it's been a while since I've read it. I don't remember what I don't liked about it, or didn't like about it. I have a review for it. I'm gonna put all of my reviews that I did on the books that I did reviews for in the links below instead of in the cards, because I can only put 5 links in the cards, and I think I have more than 5 reviews to link. If not, then I'll put them in the cards. But every time I pick them up, I can feel the hair on my face. All right, Dimitri. 1, 2, 3. Are you paying attention to Amadeus? Yeah. Spiral, Northanger Abbey, and Mistborn. Okay, I got this. Mistborn, would reread. Will probably reread that every year for the rest of my life. Spiral, burn. I hate Koji Suzuki as a person. I got through that book, but I could not finish that series. Loop, I quit that within a couple of chapters. And Northanger Abbey, I would rewrite. Northanger Abbey itself does not appear until you're like 3/4 of the way through the book. The part that takes place in Northanger Abbey isn't even that long. There just wasn't a reason for the book to necessarily be called Northanger Abbey. I think that was a cool part of the book. And don't eat... My cat eats paper now. Apparently. Please don't eat the books. Okay. Dimitri can eat the books that I was going to burn. That'll be fine. Kids eat paper, so cats will survive, right? It'll be fine. Would you like to pick the next 3 books? No? Okay. 1, 2, 3. Only Child. Queenie. And Girl Interrupted. Reread Queenie. So good. So good. Rewrite Girl Interrupted. I think it needed to focus a lot more on the group home than it did, and I think it needed to focus more on her mental health than it did. It was really just kind of a gossipy book about the girls that she was in treatment with. That book is not what it's hyped up to be. Only Child, burn. In a heartbeat, burn it. It was awful. It's an arc that I had. I don't know if it's getting released this year or early next year, but I hated it so much. I hated it. It was completely predictable. Garbage thriller. Opinions, of course. I did get caught in the seam that time. Okay, we are finishing off with Perfume, Salem's Lot, and The Exorcist. Reread Perfume. That's the one I would want to reread the most. I really loved that book. I loved that it focused on the villain. The villain was the main character. I thought it was so amazing. The Exorcist or Salem's Lot. Of the 2, I enjoyed The Exorcist more. I think the pacing was really slow on it, but I also think that I read it wrong, and by saying that, I mean I read it in little bits and pieces because of the stuff that I was doing at the time. I didn't have the time to sit down and read it in big chunks, which is how I should have read it. So I think if I did that, I would enjoy it more. Salem's Lot, I just didn't feel was its own book. So much of the story is taken from Dracula that it's not really its own book. I will reread that in the future and kind of like judge it again, because I also listened to it as an audiobook and it had too many characters for an audiobook. Gosh. I'm going to say nothing personal to The Exorcist, but I'm going to burn it. It was also a little more literary, which isn't totally my thing, but again, nothing personal, Exorcist. And rewrite Salem's Lot. to just make it more its own thing. So that is what we have, I guess, for this tag. That was a lot shorter than I thought it was going to be. I don't know, but it was still lots and lots of fun. Also, you'll know this from the title, all of these books are specifically ones that I read this year, so I thought I would just kind of do one of my end of the year wrap up videos as a reread, rewrite, and burn tag, because I think it's a lot of fun. I post every Wednesday, Sunday. Please like, subscribe, and be my cat's friends on social media. If you've been following me on social media, you would also know about my kitty's guests that we have in the house currently. That is it from me, so I will see you all in my next video. Bye, friends!